Hello, friends. Welcome to this Thirsty Sword Lesbians Roll20 Con demo. I'm excited to be here with folks. I'm going to go over how to use the free virtual tabletop assets that are part of the Thirsty Sword Lesbians Kickstarter for any backer, as well as using the character sheet in Roll20. So before I jump into all that, though, let's do some thanks. So first off, thank you to Roll20 for putting this on, for making these amazing events, and also for making this event that is all in support of Code 2040. Code 2040 is a charity that supports Black and Latinx folks getting into the tech industry to participate and to lead. And if you see down below, there's a little Tiltify banner to show how much we've raised. And I sure hope that we can raise some more. So if you would like to support the cause, to support Code 2040, there's a Tiltify link I just put in chat. And it would be fantastic if whatever you can give is a really good cause. All of Roll20Con is dedicated to supporting this, and Roll20 is matching whatever we donate up to $50,000. So let's donate 50 grand. That would be sweet. We're on our way. It's the start of the con. We're already over 11K, so feeling good about this. But yeah, please chip in. Let's see, what's else? What else is going on? A couple hours ago, April and Anna and Alexis and Jamie all played an amazing game of Thirsty Sword Lesbians on the Roll20 channel. If you want to check that out, I'll put a link in chat for that as well. That is, you can check out the VOD. They'll have it up on YouTube, I'm sure, in a bit. But that game was amazing. I got to produce it. I got to sit on the back end and had so much fun. I was very glad that my mic and my camera were off because I was giggling myself silly. It was fantastic game. So yeah, that was a blast. And if you want to go take a look at it, you can go check out that VOD. Some other channel news, or not channel news, Roll20Con news. If you want to know more about it, I'll put in exclamation mark Roll20Con in chat. It'll give you all the special links. A link for support, a link for the Evil Hat schedule. We have not one or two, not three or four, but 12 events for Roll20Con. So I am very excited about that. And some of those events are interactive events where you can join us in a Roll20 game and we'll walk through it. So in fact, immediately following this at 1 p.m. PST, I'll be opening up a Roll20 game, and folks who are interested can hop in and actually play around with it, and we can workshop it. We also have the Play EHP link will take you to all of our Roll20 modules, and Thirsty will tell you all about the Thirsty Sword Lesbians Kickstarter. So let's get that kicked off. That Kickstarter is going strong. Let's dig into it. Enough of this preamble. Yay Roll20, yay Code 2040, donate. They have all kinds of free stuff as well. Check on their channel. Lots of goodies. So let's dive into this thing. And okay, am I looking through the screen? I am, yes. So I want to start with the Kickstarter because this is where you'll find the virtual tabletop assets. These can be used in any VTT that you want, but our familiarity is Roll20, and this is Roll20Con. So we're going to show you how to use it in Roll20. So the first thing you do is, once you're a backer, if you click on this very first link, it'll take you to the first update. And in that update, there's a link to a Dropbox folder. Now, note, you can back at any level. You can back at the Just a Taste $10 level. You can back at the $69 Nice level. You automatically get this as soon as you back. If you go to that Dropbox link, it's going to take you to the game itself, the full prototype, 224 pages of amazing Thirsty Sword Lesbian goodness, the playbooks, the handouts, and the BTT assets. So if you pull these up, this is all the art from the amazing Kanisha Bryant. She made our iconics, and we love them so much. I recommend just downloading it and saving it to your local machine. And then when you download it, it'll be compressed. Uncompress it using your uncompression tool of choice, and you'll have all this art ready for you. And then you can hop over to a Roll20 game. So in Roll20, this is all, I mean, you have to back to get the art, but the rest of this is all free. You can do this without being a backer. You can just jump into Roll20 if you want to play with this, because the character sheet is built in Roll20. It is available to anyone. We just released it. Fred did some amazing work with it. I'm really, really pleased with it. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to, whoop, too many links. Log into your Roll20 account. If you don't already have one, you can create an account. A free account will work. That's totally fine. Go create new game. And my computer will think about it. And when you go to create new game, you will choose Thirsty Sword Lesbians by Evil Hack Games as your character sheet. Now note that one of the reward levels is a Thirsty Sword Lesbian module that we can't build yet because we don't have all the art. But once we have all the art, that will include a ton of art. It will include a bunch of handouts. It will include pre-made characters, the whole 9 yards, a lot of things to jump into the game. And that will, once you purchase it, that will be available here at the, in your list of campaigns. But for now, you'll just pick the character sheet and then give it a name. And go ahead and say, I'm ready, create the game. Once you've made the game, you can jump into it, but I'm going to recommend holding off. I'm going to recommend taking one more step first, and that is to make some token markers. I already have a token marker set, so if I go to add them, I'll see Thirsty Sword Lesbians, but we're going to go ahead and pretend like I didn't, and I'm going to, we're going to make a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and click here that I want to make a new set. I'm going to say create new set. And it's going to show me all of my token markers. And I'm going to say, you can see I've already got the TSL tokens there. I'm going to click on create set here, and we'll call it Thirsty Sword Lesbians set. And it's 2 because this is the second one. At this point, you're just going to drag images. You're just going to drag the images up, and the ones I recommend, going back to this, going back to the Dropbox folder, the ones I recommend are these generic circles, and there's a reason for that. But essentially, they all match. And they all have a color code match with the iconic characters. So if you want to have the infamous, for instance, our infamous iconic, and you would like to have a token, a string rather, on them, then it's a little easier when you use token markers because they're teensy tiny to have those strings, to have these sort of simple plates. So I'm recommend that you, whoops, jumped ahead of myself, that when you're uploading, you go to you go to the folder. Let's see if that's going to show up. That won't, because I'm only sharing the window. But you go to the folder you decompressed it from, and you drag those, whoops, not like that. You click add images. There we go. And then you drag all the images up. And they're teeny, they're tiny, they'll go real fast. It just takes you a moment. Once they're all done, you click on upload. Now you can upload the rest of these. You can upload these icons. I mean, you can upload anything you like as a token marker, but I found that these are a little too high detail to make good token markers. So I recommend just using the generic ones. And then it'll ask you what you want to name them. And you can go ahead and leave them. You can name them if you like, but I'm just, token markers, the names don't really matter that much. And if we check our token marker library, we see that I have the Thirsty Sword Lesbians one that I created already, and the new token marker set that I just created. I'm not 100% sure why we don't have graphic icons here. I noticed that they sort of appeared over time, but trust me, this works. So I'm going to hop back to my home to my new game that I just made, My Thirsty Sword Lesbians, this brand new game that I just set up. And in my token marker set, now I can say add, and I can pick my Thirsty Sword Lesbians token marker set and update that. Boop, boop, and we see now it's listed there that there's the default token markers that come automatically and the TSL ones. This is the only thing, well, it's not true. This is one of the big things you have to do outside of the game. But there's some other settings you can change as well. But this is an important one to get early on. So I like to just do this up front. The other thing you can do is, if you're going to play with folks, is go ahead and click invite players and copy this link or put in their email address, send it off, and they'll get an invite to it. I'm not too worried about showing that link because I'm going to delete this game when I'm done with it. But you're welcome to create your own games, and please do. So once you have loaded the token marker and possibly invited your friends to play with you, go ahead and click launch game. It will launch a very basic game, nothing in it. We see our main toolbar just has our start page, which is totally blank. We can see the little hat down in the corner that I'm logged in, and there's nothing in the game yet. So what we want to do is go to our art library, and which is the second tab over here, and then click on my library, and we want to upload all of that art we just uploaded. So I'm going to click on upload, and it's going to give me this upload files. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to drag one image over right now because I want to do this kind of quickly and have you see how it works, because it does take a moment for the images to be uploaded and processed. But as you can see now, that item that I just uploaded is in my recent uploads. Once you've got them all loaded, I recommend going in and adding a new folder, call it whatever you like. But I made mine called Thirsty Sword Lesbians, big surprise. And then dragging all of the items that you've just uploaded into that new folder. Now I already have the infamous, the iconic there, so there's a duplicate at this point. I'm going to go ahead and delete that so we don't have a duplicate. But once you've got them all in there, then you have all of your Thirsty Sword Lesbian art, all of the iconic images and whatnot, and they're ready to go. One of the things that we did was we made a very nice, very pretty backdrop using Kanisha's art as well. So the first thing that I like to do is sort of set up a little workspace, something that looks a little prettier than a grid. So I'm going to go into my page toolbar. I'm going to go to settings. By the way, if you're in chat, I am kind of looking at chat every once in a while and look off to the side. So if you have questions, please feel free to ping me with them. I'm going through this pretty fast, but I have a ton of time. Well, I've got the hour. I think I have plenty of time, and I can answer questions that go up in chat, either typing responses or showing you on screen, depending. So yeah, please feel free to ping me. I see, yeah, we got a few people here. So yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know, and I'll try and keep looking over and seeing if I can answer them. So I'm going to go up to page settings, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my grid to be 1920 by 1080. The reason I'm doing that is because that is the dimension of our art. And I'm also going to, I'm not going to disable the grid, but I'm going to turn the opacity of the grid way down. And that way I can still get the cool snap feature, but you won't see the grid as prominent. And I'm going to click OK. You can turn the grid opacity off completely if you like, but I just kind of want you to see it right now that it is there. And so I'm going to go ahead and drag this gorgeous art onto the desktop, and you can see it automatically sort of fits into one grid size. Now you can manually resize this as you like, but there's a cool thing where if you right click, go to advanced and go to set dimensions, you can type in your dimensions. So I'm going to go 1920 by 1080. And then I'm going to kind of resize it so that it fits the grid. Now, on my screen, which is also 1920 by 1080, this doesn't quite fit. So I'm going to zoom out a tiny bit just so that you can see all of it on the screen. You can sort of play with your zoom level in Roll20 as you like. But now I have this cool I have this cool backdrop. I don't want to drag it around on accident though. I want to kind of lock it in place. So I'm going to right click on it and go layer and choose map layer. Now, A, you see the grid through it. Again, I could turn that opacity down, but B, I can't accidentally drag it. So there's that. And so now if I go ahead and I drag out one of the iconic images, one of the characters, they will just pop right onto the map and they'll snap to the grid. And I can use any of these cool characters. I can also drag the avatars, but I have something in mind for those. So they're not perfectly sort of grid size, so they take a little bit more work to resize. But I have something in particular in mind for the iconic avatar images. So that's the sort of basics of the art. But there is more. There is so much more. Fred spent about a month digging into this character sheet, and he did so many amazing things. Let's go ahead and use it. So let's go into our journal tab. You'll see the journal will be empty. Click add, and you say character. It's going to ask you for a character's name. My go-to seems to be Astral characters. So we're going to call this character Nova. And I am going to, let's see, I made a beast last time. Let's make a scoundrel. Scoundrels are great. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the iconic art for the scoundrel. And notice that I'm mousing over the name rather than the icon hamburger. The hamburger will allow me to drag it up and down, but mousing over the name is what allows me to drag it onto the playmat. And I'm going to move it over to the avatar space, and there we go. I have selected that as the avatar for Nova. The other thing I could do is I could select a token and then say you select a token, and that will make that token attached to Nova. Now, the way that is meaningful is that later on, if I've, let's say, added a token marker like we talked about to this token, and if I've done all that ahead of time, you kind of have to do it before you make it the default token, then every time I drag Nova out onto the map, she'll have all the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this right now, because I can always add it back later on. I want to spruce up Nova's icon a little bit before I make her the default token. So I'm going to leave it like that right now. Next, if I look at players' journals, it'll ask who should be in it. It'll list all the players. Since it's an Evil Hat game and I'm the only one in it, it only lists me, but it also lists all players. And my recommendation is if you choose all players in the journal and all players in control by, then everyone can access Nova. And we'll see that when we go to the tab. As soon as I hit save, we'll see a little blue dot right here. Oh, where'd you go? There we go. I think it's right off the screen. I think it's right off my screen cap. I apologize. But just to the right of Nova is a little blue dot, and that's what tells you that anybody can see the character. So cool. I've got, the image. That's nice. I've got the beautiful art. That's great. But the wonder comes in the character sheet. Again, this was all hand-coded by Fred. Hand-coded, that's not really the right word. This was all developed by Fred, which is a mix of Java and HTML and CSS and JSON and astronomy for all I know. There's a lot to this, but it does a whole lot. I'm going to try and go over as much as I can that I know, but I keep finding little nuggets, little cool things in it. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Also, this is a great thing to do. It's a great thing. I'm putting the link in chat. If you want to join our Q&A event where you can actually do this yourself, you can jump into a game and I'll sort of walk you through stuff. So the first thing we want to do is choose our playbook. If you mouse over playbook, you'll see the list of all the playbooks. And if you mouse over the more about playbook, it sort of tells you a little bit about them. I think on stream, this is probably not going to be readable. So I will read this one for the scoundrel out loud. The scoundrel is a hero of action and intense physicality. Their sword fights are punctuated by banter and flirtation, and end in kisses as often as they end in bloodshed. Their central conflict lies in the urge to explore new horizons versus committing to their purpose and security. Example archetypes include the Shimbo Pirate, the Diva Fencing Champion, and the Dashing Jewel Thief. I kind of like the idea of Nova the Dashing Jewel Thief. You don't have to go with any of those archetypes, but that's that fits my vibe. So I'm going to, now that I've selected the scoundrel, I'm going to click load and choose scoundrel. And when I do that, the menu does not automatically disappear. Every once in a while I notice it will, but for the most part, the menu will stay there. But if we mouse away from it, we'll see the scoundrel has been loaded. They have some moves all scoundrels have that are already checked, and then their playbook moves are beneath those. So everything specific to the scoundrel is here. If I go here and I were to load, say, the Nature Witch instead, boop, there we go. There's Nature Witch and all of their stuff. I will go over in a moment. You're asking me, but what if I play a scoundrel and then I want to take a Nature Witch move? We will address that very soon, but I'm gonna hold back just to start with the basics. But yes, you can combine these playbooks as well. So once I've chosen the scoundrel, I see all the moves, and the next thing I want to do is choose my starting stats. I mouse over, I see 2 stat blocks. These are specific to the playbook, so this is the scoundrel stat blocks. And my options are daring and grace +1, wit -1, or daring and wit +1, heart -1. And then once I choose those, I get to add +1 to 2 stats. I really like daring and heart, so I'm going to choose that. And then I get to add 2 to individual stats. So I'm going to bump my heart up to +1 and my daring up to +2. Pretty good. I like that. When I mouse back over starting stats, I now see that the choices are made and locked. I can't accidentally repick the starting stat block. If I want to, however, if I realize, no, I want to use the other stat block, I can uncheck this box and then the stat block appears. I will reselect it. It'll rechange everything back to start, and I'll add 2 more. I'm going to go ahead and stick with my original plan. There we go. And there we go. We have our stats. Note the stat blocks are different for each character, so you'll pick them once you've done that. I'm going to go ahead and put my pronouns for Nova. I think Nova uses she and they pronouns. And there's this introduce yourself button, which is very tempting. It's very tantalizing and tempting for me to click, but I don't want to click it just yet because I'm going to scroll down to Nova's aesthetics and I'm going to pick her demeanor, clothes, and blade. So if I mouse over this, or rather if I click in it, it gives me the playbook options: a playful demeanor, a provocative demeanor, eyes only for you demeanor. I think I'm imagining this jewel thief. I think a playful demeanor is perfect. The next is clothes: revealing clothes, flowing clothes, tight clothes, a gaudy costume. I'm going to just say pirate clothes. I think that's yar. I think that says enough. That's a little bit of tight. It's a little bit of revealing. It's a little bit of gaudy. I'm down for that. And then blade: a flashy sword, a famous sword, a delicate sword. Ooh, I like a famous sword. I think I want to make it one more. I think this is a stolen sword, stolen from some monarch or another. So I'm going to say a stolen sword. And we all know that it's a famous sword. In fact, maybe stolen from King of the High Realms. Oh, Judd says name the sword. Thank you, Judd. Good advice. Yeah, and I'm gonna listen and see if chat has any suggestions on sword names. But I'm thinking a sword etched in runes. Rune Slayer, maybe. Yeah. I'm still open, chat, if you have other ideas, but we're gonna call it Rune Slayer. Is she a cut lass? Oh my goodness, there we go. Yes, she is definitely a cut lass. Thank you, but Prince, that is 100% it. Rune Slayer, a stolen sword. Yeah, we just, in the previous game, I mean, I know you were in it, but Prince, so this is no surprise, but I know in the previous game, April's character, who was a nature witch, who was sort of a cat, her name was Cat Alist, and her bike, which has her little cat familiar in it, was Kawasaki. It was a Kawasaki bike. It was very good. So yes, she is Nova the Cutlass. Perfect. I love it. Yep. I think Your Destiny is a great sword name. If you want to hold on to that, Milanomi, am I saying that right? Lily, I'm gonna say Lily. It's the last part of your. If you want to hold on to Lily, I think Your Destiny is a great sword name, and I can only imagine how many times Your Destiny would get used in sword fights. What is that? What's going on? This is Your Destiny. I love it. Okay. Cool. So now that I have my name, my aesthetics. Oh, I want to click on introduce yourself, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait one more second. I want to do it, but I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna pick my moves. So let's go ahead. Let's first look at the scoundrel. So every playbook has like a central thing that they are struggling with. And remember, the scoundrel is really struggling with their, we'll kind of mouse over this again. Oh my goodness, being really slow. The scoundrel is really struggling with their urge to explore new horizons and wanting to commit. Kindness. Yeah, kindness is nice. I'm gonna steal that. Raven. I like kindness. It sounds sinister in a way. Yeah, pocket that as well. Take all these names. Kindness, stolen sword. So we know that Nova, her central, I think Nova is a pirate. She goes from port to port. And when, Thirsty Sword Lesbians isn't played in a vacuum, it's played with other Thirsty Sword Lesbians. And so one of the things I would want to do is find out how Nova was connected to find out how Nova was connected to the other players, and that would inform some of this. But I'm gonna just sort of play it out, and I'm gonna look at the living in the moment. My God, these names are so good. Okay, people just keep caching these names because Mercy is another great one. But I love kill them with kindness. That sounds fantastic. So the scoundrels asked a central question: why are you so fickle? Is there something you need to figure out about yourself, and you keep looking for it in other people? Instead, are you afraid of the vulnerability that comes with investing in a relationship? Is true love unattainable? Are you just that oblivious? Choose something that you'll be able to grow past to give your character an emotional story arc. You don't need to figure out immediately, and the scoundrel may not know it themselves at all. I think Nova needs to give up piracy. I mean, I think at the end of the day, although Nova feels like being a pirate. Now, if this was a we're all pirates game, I might not do that. But again, I'm kind of making Nova in a void right now. And I think my sense is that though she feels like she's a rebel and that she's sticking it to the man and that she's stealing swords from kings, get over a betrayal? Oh man, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna mix it together. I'm gonna say I must go past betrayal from the pirate king. Yeah, I think I stole the pirate king's sword. I think I'm still a pirate, but I don't think I've gotten over the betrayal. I think he did something horrible. Never mind. I think the pirate's name is Corella. And the famous sea witch. Okay, Sophie, you're hammering me here. I'm trying to keep up. Okay, I can take it. I don't know. I really wanted to be another pirate. I think I'm gonna pass on Sea Witch. I think we can add a Sea Witch in the game for sure. But I think the pirate Corella. I think I took their sword. I think Nova took it, but they're not over them. They still have a chip on their shoulder. They're still rivals. They still feel like they have to prove something to them and prove something to themselves, and they can't really get out of this mindset right now. So yeah, I love it. Thank you, by the way, Sophie, for all of these ideas. They're fantastic. Now, getting back to the nuts and bolts of this, now that I've picked this move, or anytime really, I can always choose to show less of a move, and I can sort of hide the move I can hide some of the move to shrink it down. This way, eventually, if you have a ton of moves, you're able to sort of hold them vertically a little bit better because the moves do tend to get pretty long. The other thing I can do is I can mouse over moves and I can say, that I want to hide certain things. Like I can hide untaken moves. So for instance, if you look at right now, Better to Seek Forgiveness, Fools Rush In, Impressive Swordplay. If I go back up here and I say hide untaken moves, those are now gone. I don't see any of them. I want to see them because I'm going to pick some moves, but there's lots of things that I can hide here or shorten to try and trim this down and make it easier to find the moves that I'm looking for. I can hide basic moves. I can hide Truce of Heart and Blade, which are the smitten moves, or when you're in physical conflict moves. Yeah, and I can hide the playbook moves too. The other thing I can do, which we sort of talked about briefly at the beginning, was I can load moves from other playbooks. So you notice it says show the scoundrel and show the nature witch. That's because I did that like nature witch switcheroo back to scoundrel. But if I had just picked the scoundrel, it would have load for all of these. And if I choose load, say the chosen, then I will get all the chosen moves as well. And if I go scroll down, we see the chosen moves too. I could pick one and then hide the untaken moves if I did that. If I took a chosen move as an advance, that's how I can make them appear. I'm gonna go ahead and hide the chosen moves. Let's see, show the chosen. No, I don't want to. What am I gonna do? Did that do it? I think I might have done it. Oh, I still have it there. I'm probably clicking on the wrong thing, or maybe I have to say hide. I'm going to hide them in a second when I hide untaken moves. But the point is, this gives me the ability to load all these cool moves. So let's. The other move I have as a scoundrel is Heat of the Moment. When you taunt someone and you're doing something they want, into doing something they want, but fine and wise, roll plus daring. And then we have two different charts versus whether it's for PC or an NPC. I get that automatically. I have Lust at First Sight and Shiny and New. So April was not stingy when she made these characters. They don't start with like, okay, you've got one cool move and hopefully it's useful. All the characters have either several very cool moves, several moves that complicate their lives, or they have a sort of a unique mechanic, like the Beast, which has a feral track, or the Seeker, which has a tradition track. There's tons of good stuff here. I get to start with the moves marked and choose two more. So I'm going to choose. I like Impressive Swordplay. When you roll a 7+ on a fight, you gain a string on someone who is present and ask their player what it is about you that you have impressed and intrigued with them. I particularly love the idea that this works regardless of whether you're using it on the person you're fighting or someone who is looking on. I mean, that's kind of the shtick about Thirsty Sword Lesbians. You don't fight to beat someone up. You fight to change your relationship with them or with an onlooker. So yeah, let's do that. And then let's see. I think I just love it when I get to say, as a player, I sort of have the narrative authority to say, I do this thing that normally doesn't trigger a move, but because my character is special, this has mechanical effect in the game. So anyone could say, I rush in and say, I've arrived. Anyone could say that. And it might trigger a move if they're being chased by the guards and they want to do it before the guards catch them. That might be defying disaster. They might use the entice move. They might do that and say, I want to entice someone because I'm doing this big show. And those are all totally cool, but I like it. I love to have special moves where I'm like, I get to have this kind of like little portion of the fiction that my character can affect by just doing this one thing. So I'm going to take the main attraction. When you make a dramatic entrance, roll plus grace, and I can make all attention be focused on me at the moment. And that's a little different than if I were to try to entice somebody. I might also entice someone. I might also say, because one of the options is you hold the attention of one person for as long as you deliver a dramatic speech. If I get both of those, I mean, that's solid. So I love this. I'm choosing the main attraction. All right. I've been holding back. I've been holding out and not showing you this. But now that we've picked our name, our playbook, our stats, our moves, and our aesthetics, all these things, I'm going to do one of the coolest things in this game. This came from Brianna Hitchcock. Thank you so much, Brianna, for giving us this idea. I'm going to click introduce yourself. And when I do that, it's going to boop. it's going to put my character into chat. It puts in all those things: her name, her playbook, their pronouns, their stats, their moves, their aesthetics. It's just like, how do you introduce your character? Boom, you click on introduce your character, and it has all those sort of key things. It would have all the moves that she's picked. It's really, really slick. So you can start a game by just boop, boop, boop. All of the characters introduce themselves, and it's in chat. So thank you so much, Brianna. That was a brilliant idea. I'm so glad we were able to incorporate it into the game. That same feature of dropping something into chat is available with all, let's just say with most. I don't know if all, but I think with most moves, you can do the same thing. So if I want to show everybody how heat of the moment works, I'm gonna go ahead and click on that thing, and it's gonna show up in chat. Now, in order to preserve space in chat, it by default is sort of semi-condensed, but as soon as you mouse over it, it expands the whole size. And then once you mouse away, it disappears. So, sometimes, it can slip away on you, but this drops into chat so everyone can see my characters move. And that, anytime you see this little icon right here, I know it's kind of hard to see in chat, that will drop the move into, or whatever it is, it will drop it into chat. The other thing that's next to this icon is a roll icon. So now that we know my stats, I can start making some moves. So I'm going to, a little fruit fly. I'm going to roll heat of the moment. And if I click roll here, it'll say, what stat are you going to roll? Now, heat of the moment by default uses daring, but some moves like defy danger. Let's go down here. I'm gonna use that trick I had. I'm gonna hide untaken moves now. That way I don't have to scroll through so much. If I go to defy disaster, sorry, not defy danger, defy disaster, that can be rolled with any stat depending on the circumstance. And so when I click here, it'll give me the option, but it doesn't have one as default. But if I, or fight, same way, it doesn't have a status default. But if it's a move that defaults, like this one, defaults daring, it's going to say daring. Now we keep seeing daring pop up because that is the default move, but it's also the first one on the list. So let's take a move that starts something else, just to show you how it works. I'm going to look at entice. That's definitely a move Nova will be using. And if I click on that, we see that heart is chosen as default. And if I want to change it, I can. All right, let's roll this heat of the moment. I'm going to say, yep, daring is right. I click on that, and then it asks me for a modifier. Now, I'm going to go over some modifiers in a second, but this is just a quick, easy way to add a modifier to the roll if you have one. You might have one from a string. You might have one from a move that gave you +1 forward. You might have one from a condition. But I'll go ahead and hit submit and roll. Woo! I got an upbeat. Yes, I got a 10 plus. I get to do some cool things. And if I mouse over that 10 plus, I can see what I rolled. I rolled a 5 and a 3. I had +2 daring. That gave me a 10. Excellent. But those modifiers can do more. There is more in those modifiers. So if I, through the course of play, let's say Nova gets insecure. I think Nova's an insecure character. I think they sometimes overextend themselves and then are afraid that they'll be rejected. Once I'm insecure, I have -2 to entice, and you see that here. However, it does not automatically apply it. There are circumstances where that insecure might not be in effect. So there's two places where I can kind of toggle on and off that modifier. One is here under modifiers. If I check it, now it'll say my current tally on entice rolls is -2. The other place is under the move itself. If I go to entice, bump, 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 I think I've passed it. Heartstring moves, entice, there we go. If I go to entice, I see this little thing. It says condition active, modifier is not marked. And if I click here to toggle, it automatically checks it for me. So I can do it right under the move. I can toggle it on and off. So now if I go to roll entice, I'm going to roll, and I'm going to use heart as usual. And immediately it has that -2 modifier in there. So I don't have to remember that I have that condition. I can just turn it on. And when I roll a move, it'll factor it in. Now I might modify that again. I might say, well, I've got -2 because of being insecure, but I have +1 because of some other moves. So you can certainly always modify that, but it's a good, helpful reminder. Let's go ahead and roll that. Ooh, not bad, not bad. Mixed beat here. you know, I get a string on them unless they decide instead to choose one of these, to get flushed and awkward, to give in to my desire, or to promise something they think I want. I love all of these options. These are all good things. This is fantastic. Now, speaking of strings, let's talk about strings. Let's talk about strings um, and all the ways we can use them. So the character sheet has a place to put in strings. I'm going to say, let's say I have a string with the pirate Corella. She's an NPC, so normally you'd be putting in the PC's characters' names here, but you know, we haven't made any other characters, so I'm just going to put in Corella here. And as soon as I put in Corella's name, another line appears. If I ever if I ever click on the X, Corella will disappear, and I can start marking strings. And when I check these strings, it tells me sort of what I can do. I can always spend a string to add, you know, it gives me the sort of directions here. I can always spend a string to add +1 or -1 to help or hinder somebody in a move that involves them. So I could, if I'm making a move against Corella, if for instance, I could spend on that. But if somebody else is making a move that involves Corella, I could spend that string as well. But also, you can specifically spend strings to get +3 to emotionally support them or to figure them out. So, so it's neat that the strings are useful in lots of ways, but they're specifically useful to give someone emotional support. And in fact, if I even just click that right now, it'll add it in as a modifier that I have. And if I go down to emotional support and I go to roll it, I'm gonna, let's see, you roll with heart or spirit. I'm gonna roll with heart, because that's Nova. And you see I have the modifier. There's basically the -2 modifier for entice is turned on, and the +3 modifier for the string is turned on. I don't want that entice modifier applying to this roll right now. So I'm going to try this again, choose heart. And now we see we have the +3 modifier. And let's see if I can offer motion support. Oh my goodness, everything is coming up Nova these days. And when I happen to click that, I don't know if you caught this, when I happen to click that, one of the strings disappeared. So I used it, and then the string disappeared. So it depleted my string count. I've used up now. I'm going to remove that modifier. So a lot of fun things you can do with playing with modifiers, but that is not all there is to strings. So this is lovely from a pure player perspective, but either if you want everyone else to see what's going on, or if you want to, like run a stream and you want everyone to have a cool visual for the strings, then what you can do is you can take this cool art that we made, this strings tray, and you can drop tokens on there and then sort of move them around to track all the strings. Now, what I've done, I'm doing a little bit of movie magic here, and then I'm going to switch over to a Roll20 game where I've already sort of set some of this up and sized things and kind of gotten them all dialed in. So now you see I've got this Roll20 game, same exact setup, same art, same resources, but I've just sort of set everything up. And I've got 4 characters: an infamous, a seeker, a nature witch, and a devoted. Why not a scoundrel? I don't know, but was making this another time. What I can do here is, for instance, if the seeker gets a string on the infamous, and this is why these grids are nice, I can just drag the infamous up. Oh, she has 2 strings on her. She gains on. She has 3 strings on the infamous. Spent 1 down to 2, and this is a great way to keep the visual of how the player characters are all sort of connected to one another. And then if you have some NPCs, these little generic tokens are great for that. So down here, I have a few NPCs, Zephyr and Tentacula and Bicross. These are from the book. If Bicross was to get a string on, say, my seeker, just copy this little token and drop it over here, and I'd say, cool, Bicross has a string on my seeker. And, you know, if they had another one, this isn't quite using the same system, but I could just do this because I don't expect the NPCs to get tons and tons of strings. And when Bicross spends it, I can just delete that icon, no big deal. I could also always drag it from my art library too. Similarly, if we go back to our seeker, if they get a string on Bicross, then they can track those there. If they get a string on Tentacula, then they can track those there. So these generic tokens, now you can of course use any tokens you want. We just wanted to get you kind of started. But as you can tell, you can use this string map and these tokens and yeah, and just play with it to your heart's content. There's tons of free content on Roll20 in terms of art. Also, we will be, once we have all the art, we'll be making a full module, which is tons and tons and tons of art. So there'll be oodles and oodles of tokens. But right now, playing Roll20, playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians on Roll20 today, you know what that makes me want to do? That makes me want to donate. That makes me want to give money to Code 2040. That's how excited I am about playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians. So there's the link again. I see that we actually have made some money during this game. I think we've jumped up $100. So thanks, friends. Thanks for contributing. I hope that was one of you. So here's a great way to visually display strings. But you might say, but Sean, this takes up the whole page. I can't really do anything else. What if I want to be on a page like this and have my tokens and move them around and drop them into different scenes, and I want to track them without dedicating an entire page to that? I'm glad you asked, chat. I'm glad you asked. And the answer to that is we have another way of doing that, which is by using token markers. So I have the same sets of characters here. I'm going to go ahead and remove these real quick so I can walk you through it all. We have the same sets of characters here, and I'm using both I have both their full avatar images and their token images, again, all included. And if you happen to notice, those token markers, as I said earlier, were color-coded to the to each of the iconics. So Infamous is red and the Devoted is white, the Seeker is green, and the Nature Witch is orange. And so now I can use those token markers to track strings. So if I click on the Nature Witch and I mouse over the token marker, or I click on the token marker thing, it pulls up all the default token markers, which are built in. And then starting with the second row, it shows all of the ones that we added. We were going to use the default token markers, but there was too few. So we had to make our own. Otherwise, we would just use the 7 that are there, but we have 9 playbooks. So we made our own 9. And so if I want to mark that I have a token with the Seeker, I can just click on the Seeker icon, and then I get a little cool little green icon there, and I know that I've got a string. Now, the even neater special thing that Sophie Lagasse, who is in chat right now, showed me, this is a super cool ability, is that if you mouse over a token marker and you use a number, this will not work with letters, it will only work with alphanumeric characters. But if you use a number and I put, say, 3, that shows up in the token marker. So now I can see I've got 3 strings with the Seeker. And if I want to change that, I can go back here and I can just type any other number. So I just type 2, 1, and if I want to get rid of them all together, if I use my last one, I can just click on it and boom, they disappear. So if I want to mark that I've got 1 string with the Seeker, I've got 2 with the Devoted, and I've got, will 0 work? Yeah, I can even show I've got 0 with the Infamous. That way, just a good way to keep track of it. Remember the Infamous is there, but that I'm down to 0 strings. We tried this with the actual icons themselves. And so we tried this by putting an Infamous or a Devoted there, and it just shrunk down way too much. As you can see, you can just make out the color and the number, and that's about as much detail as we could get in those token markers. Now, you can also do this on any icon. So I could go here and I could say, I've got 1 string on the Nature Witch and 2 on the Devoted and 2 on the Infamous. And now we see that up here. So you can do this with any token that you want. Anything that's not a drawing, you can add token markers to. And now if I were to go and sort of take this fully decked out character, I'm going to go back to something I talked about earlier on. So I'm going to take my scoundrel, I'm going to take Nova, I'm going to double click on this icon. I'm going to say she is associated with Nova, the cutlass. I'm going to say show nameplate, all that stuff. I could go in here and choose various bars if I wanted for various stats. Like, let's say I'm going to track her experience, and now I've got my experience there. and I'm going to take the character. I'm going to go to Nova. This is all wrapping around. I'm going to edit. Oh, wait, hold on. I want to do one more thing. I want to give Nova some strings. Let's give Nova a couple strings on the seeker. There we go. We've got Nova. She's got her experience bar. They've got their strings there. And now if I go in here and I click that, and I say use selected token. Cool. I've got Nova there. If I go into another page, boop, 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 we're in some blank page. There's nothing here. It's super boring. I go to my character. I drag Nova out. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's got all of the stuff. It's got their experience, it's got our experience, it's got our token markers, it's got our name. We know that it's associated with the character. If we controlled access to tokens by who accessed the character, for instance here, it says controlled by, determined by character settings. So right now we have all players, but if we just had the player of Nova be able to control that character, then also they'd be the only ones who can control that token. So that is Thirsty Sword Lesbians. There is so much more. Every single character sheet has their own special things. If you're a beast, you get a feral track that goes up and down. If you're a seeker, you have commandments that you follow and convictions that you replace them with eventually over time. There's so much to this game. I think I've just cracked the surface, but we have 5 minutes left. So I'm going to get ready for my demo. And the demo, we're doing demos all weekend long. I'm going to put this in. If you go to that link, it will take you to all of our Q&A. Wrong, Q&A. They'll take you to our Q&As where you can join us for a live review, a live Q&A of the sheets. We won't be playing any games. We're not going to run a game with our sister lesbians. You can see that on the Roll20 channel. I just linked it there, or you can play a game yourself. But we will be showing you how to use it. So if you want to join in any of those, if there's spots open, please jump into them. Also, we have just so many things going on this weekend. So there is our Evil Hat schedule. I'm going to stick around for like 1 more minute. If anybody has questions, please put them in chat. Otherwise, I hope to see maybe some of you in the Roll20 game. And yeah, we'll play around. We'll do the stuff. Cool. That was that. Thanks everybody for being in chat with me. Thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for the ideas. All these sword names are great. I love them. And I really look forward to seeing more people playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Once again, big shout out to Roll20 for putting this whole thing on. And if you haven't already, this is a really good cause. Code 2040 is helping Black and Latinx people get into tech positions and specifically leadership positions within tech. It's a very good cause, and every dollar you give, Roll20 is matching up to 50K, so it is well worth it. I'm going to go transition to the other event, so I will see you all over there. If not, later today, Tom Lommel, who is in chat right now, will be running a Band of Blades demo just like this, and you should swing by for that too. Take care, all.